welcome to Yellowbird Pilates. My name's Amy and I've got a lovely workout for you today, lovely Pilates class for you today. We'll be using the soft ball and the head cushion. If you don't have a soft ball or a head cushion, you can just find some sofa cushions or something like that. A similar object will be fine to replace these with. So we're going to start today by just popping the soft ball between the tops of the thighs, thinking about our feet placement right underneath the hips there, so directly stacked underneath them, thinking about making sure the ribs are lying nice and flat to your torso, just opening out that collarbone, drawing the shoulder blades together and down towards your back pockets, and then tucking the chin, elongating the back of the neck, and just allowing the eyes to close for a moment while you center yourself in this position. Just thinking about elongating through the crown of the head, reaching up through the crown of the head, grounding down through the feet, and just playing with your weight distribution today. So maybe bringing your weight forward so you can feel the toes turning on to support you, and then bringing your weight backwards, feeling your weight come into your heels, and then taking it to one side, bringing your weight into one leg, and then across into the other leg, and then finding the midpoint between those 4 points, front, back, side and side, and just taking a few breaths here. Breathing in through the nose, expanding the lungs laterally, and then blowing out through the mouth, drawing the core in towards your spine, inhaling in through the nose, wide lateral breath, keeping the core engagement while you're doing so, and on the exhale, a gentle pressure on the ball, lifting up the pelvic floor to join the core engagement there. And then once more, inhaling in through the nose and out through the mouth, feeling that core draw together at your center to support you today. And we're thinking about keeping that core engagement, that pelvic floor, and those obliques, those abdominal muscles, setting them at about a 3 out of 10 to support you throughout the exercising today. Okay, so opening the eyes, taking the ball out from between the thighs this morning. We're going to start by just swapping the hand from one ball overhead to the other ball and back down again. So we're just starting to get some movement through the shoulders, through the wrists, the hands, and we're just engaging our core lightly here to support our back. Make sure we're not bending to achieve the reach at the top, and then we'll go the other way, so taking the ball, passing it the other direction. Remembering to keep your breathing going in through the nose, out through the mouth, inhaling up, exhaling down, nice and slowly. Lovely. Now we're going to take the ball in our right hand, we're going to pass it overhead, doing an arm circle behind us. We're going to switch it as it comes in front to the left hand, take the left arm over and round in a circle, just allowing those shoulders to explore their range this morning, not pushing anything too much. But unless you're exercising or you have an active job, you don't really do many overhead reaches. Let's change the direction, bring the ball backwards and then forwards, switching hands, backwards and then forwards. Again, keeping the core engaged just to make sure we're not arching our back as we're doing these movements. Lovely. Okay, then we're going to take a little roll down. So inhaling to prepare. Exhale to unstack the spine from the very top vertebra starting to allow those shoulders to release and relax. Keeping that core engagement as you roll down, unstacking the vertebra one at a time. And then allowing yourself to come into a hamstring stretch wherever you can get to today. And then just maybe taking the backs of your legs and just gently pulsing into that stretch. Or if you can keep your fingertips up to the floor, you might want to walk your fingers to one side, walk them back to the other side. And then we're going to leave the ball on the floor now as we bend the knee, engage the core and restack the spine, tucking that tailbone under, allowing each vertebra to come back into place, rolling the shoulders at the top, taking a lovely inhale there, just allowing yourself to center. And then we're going to reach up with our right hand, sliding the left hand down towards our knee for a lovely side bend, opening up the side waist there, keeping the core engaged as you come back through that center point, switching hands, left hand going, reaching tall, reaching up out of your waist as you slide down on the other side. Lovely lateral flexion for the spine there, once more to each side. Inhale to reach up, exhale to travel into the bend. Enjoy an inhale there, and an exhale takes you back out again. Inhaling to reach up, exhaling to enjoy the bend. Inhaling there, and exhale brings you back out again. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to do some leg movements now. So I'm just going to come forwards on my mat. We're going to do some curtsy lunges. So hands on the hips here. Inhaling to prepare. We're going to take the right leg out behind us and then lunge down into that position and back up. Switching sides, left leg goes behind, curtsying down and back to the start. So here we're making sure we've got strong engagement through the abdominals, through the glutes and the thighs. So we are exhaling down, inhaling on the switch. Lovely relaxed shoulders, and trying to make these movements happen through muscles rather than momentum. Fantastic. Okay, let's take a break there. Just let the legs release for a minute, and then we'll take some bicycle crunches. So hands out in front, arms, elbows at shoulder height. And we're going to bring the left knee and the right arm together. Whoop, lost my balance there. Back out. Right knee, left arm together and back out. So when we're doing this pull down and pull up with the leg and the arm, we're not using our spine to curve and get those limbs together. We're using our abdominal strength and our leg strength to bring the leg up and to twist the arm down. So again, slowing these movements down so that we can use muscles, not momentum. It's the key phrase of the video today. Okay, one more to each side. Fabulous. Roll those shoulders out, wiggle out the legs and the hips, and then we're going to do a little foot series here. So we're going to come down into a squat, arms raised. We're going to come up onto our toes. We're going to stand up while we're on our toes with the arms raised, And then we're going to allow our heels and our arms to come back down towards the mat. We're going to inhale to prepare. Exhale takes us into the squat. Inhale onto the toes. Exhale to push up. Inhale, release. Let's take that again. So we're exhaling down. Inhale onto the toes. Exhale, reaching up. Inhale to come back down. Once more like that. Exhale down. Inhale onto toes. Exhale up. Inhale back down. Okay, let's take that the other way. We're going to inhale up. Onto toes, arms reaching to the ceiling. Exhale, staying on the toes, coming down into that chair squat. Inhale, release the heels. Exhale, standing up. Inhale, onto the toes, reaching up. Exhale to slide your back down a wall. Inhale, release the heels. Exhale up. Inhale up once more. Exhale, sliding the back down the wall. Inhale, heels replaced. And exhale, standing tall. Let's just wiggle out those thighs, roll out those shoulders. Fantastic. Okay, let's move on to our balance today. We're going to have a go at eagle pose. So eagle pose has some arms and some legs involved. We'll do the arms first and then we'll add the legs. So I want you to take your hands out in front of you, palms facing down. We're going to cross the right arm over the left, and we're going to make sure that the bend of the elbows are roughly over the top of each other, so they're crossing at the elbow. Then from here we're going to bring our palms facing back to back. Okay, shoulders are lifting, elbows are lifting rather. And then if it's available to you, you're going to move the hands further into that twist so that then the palms are facing each other. Just so that you can see that there a little better. Now we've got our right arm crossed over our left. So our left arm is closer to our legs. Therefore we take our left leg up. We bend into the right leg, we cross the left leg over the right leg, and for some of you this might be enough here. If you've got the availability, you're going to wrap your left leg around your right leg and hook your toe around the back of your ankle. We're just going to remember to keep the elbows high here, keep a bend in that supporting leg. Going to find a focus point and breathe. Inhaling, expanding the lungs, exhale through the mouth. One more like that. And then we're going to unwrap the arms, unwrap the legs, and just allow that supporting leg to have a bit of movement. All right, let's take that to the other side then. So starting with the arms out in front, we're going left over the right this time, crossing at the elbow, bringing the backs of the palms towards each other, facing each other, and then we're going to continue that wrap around until the palms are touching. If that's a bit much, you can stay with the palms back to back today. Okay, so we've got our right arm closest to our legs, because that's the underneath arm. So we're going to come down into our little knee bend a little bit, and this time the right knee is going to lift and come across the left leg. So we're in this cross-leg position, wrapping our right leg around our left, if that's available to us, and just remembering to bring those elbows up to shoulder height. And then you're here, finding a focal point, taking a lovely breath in through the nose, expanding the lungs, holding on, out through the mouth. One more like that, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we release the arms, unwrapping everything, release the legs, and just shake out that supporting leg. Well done. Oh, okay, ready to roll down to the mat now. So we're going to come to the end of the mat here. Take an inhale. On the exhale, unstacking the spine, letting the arms go loose and enjoying the cascade of the spine towards the mat. All the way down, keeping the legs straight for a little hamstring stretch. So you might want to take the backs of your legs again, or the backs of your ankles. Just enjoy a couple of little pulses there. See if it feels any different to the first one you've done. And then we're going to walk the hands out along the mat. And we're going to start today on our backs. So grab your ball. We're going to use the ball today to destabilize us when we're in our lying on our back positions. So we're going to do start with a hip twist level 1. So we're coming down into our Pilates neutral position. So we've got a lovely nice little gap under our lower back. Our legs are bent up, knees are bent up, and legs are hip width distance apart. From here, we're going to take the soft ball or the cushion, whatever you have with you today, and we're going to place it under the tailbone. So right at the end of the spine there. And from here, we're going to start our hip twist level 1. So our hip twist level 1, we're going to imagine we've got a laser beam on our left knee. That can't move at all. But we're going to take our right knee, we're going to open it out very, very slowly, making sure that our pelvis is not rocking or lifting up on one side or the other. Keep the core engagement really strong to help you with this. At the point where you feel you might be at the end of your range of being able to keep the pelvis stable, just start very slowly to bring that knee back in. Okay, so we're after stability here rather than range of movement. Then we're switching sides, inhaling to prepare, exhaling to take the other knee out on its little journey. The laser beam is on your right knee this time, that can't move at all. Inhaling there at the edge of your control and exhaling to bring that knee back in. So you might find that putting your hands on your hips for a bit of feedback is useful here. If not, if you're just judging that intuitively, listening to your body, that's fine. You can have your hands down on the mat. So taking it back to the first side again, opening that knee out. Trying to remember to relax the shoulders. They're not getting involved with this. This is an abdominal lower body movement. And then switching the legs there, taking the other knee out to the side. And then bringing that back in. Lovely. Okay, so that was hip twist level 1. Hip twist level 2. We're going to bring one leg into tabletop, and we're going to do the same again from the tabletop position. So we've got our left knee, still got the laser beam on it, that can't move. Our right leg is in tabletop. Now the tabletop position is going to stay exactly the same. All that we're going to do is we're going to open out that shape from the hip. So we've got a longer lever that weighs a lot more, so you might well find you can't get as far with this one. So we're just going to do 4 openings out on this side. That's my second. Using the breath to support you, exhaling on the open. Inhaling on the way back. And here we go on number 4. Inhaling on the way back. Switching over the legs. And from here, inhaling to prepare ourselves. Exhaling to open out. Inhale, draw back. Exhaling to open out. Inhale to draw back. My traps want to get involved with this. Exhaling to open. Inhale back. It's very much harder with the ball underneath you because all your stability is then coming from your core. And floating that leg down. Lovely. Okay, so from here we're going to stay with the ball under the pelvis and we're going to move to scissors level 1. So we're in our same setup position, we're engaging the core, and then on an exhale we're drawing the first leg into tabletop and then inhaling back down. Switching sides, exhaling to lift the other leg, inhaling to bring that back down. So we're just going to do some scissors switching from side to side here. And again, we're going to run through our checklist. Is our core engaged? I think it would have to be for this one. Have we got a little bit of pelvic floor engagement as well? Have we made sure that we're not tensing through the shoulders, through the traps? And are we rotating, feeling that movement in our hip joint? Not in our knee joint. So are we making sure we're keeping our leg in that bent position and just keeping that movement to the hip? Okay, let's finish off our sides, make sure they're even, and then we're going to have a go at scissors level 2. So we're inhaling to prepare. On the exhale, we're bringing one leg into tabletop. Breathing again, engaging the core, and the second leg comes into tabletop. Now just this is quite a challenge in itself, so if you're going to stay here and just practice that, that's fine. From here, if you're going to have a go at scissors level 2, we're inhaling to prepare. On the exhale, we're dipping one toe down into a pool of water and raising it back up. Exhaling to take the other leg down. Inhaling back up, keeping that core really steady, really stable, relaxing the shoulders while you're doing so, using that breath to channel the effort through your core, and trying to think about the stability as you switch between your sides, keeping that nice and stable through that transition. Fantastic. Okay, let's float one leg down, let's float the other leg down. Oh, and just release through those abdominals for a little moment. Just taking a little ball roll, hip ball roll from side to side. Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to have a little go now before we take the ball out from under us at a double leg stretch level 1. So start with our hands, our arms are coming towards the ceiling, palms facing. We'll just do the arm movement before we add the leg movement. So we're inhaling to prepare here. On an exhale, we're taking the arms overhead. We're keeping the core nice and strong so the back isn't moving. And then we're drawing round a clock face to come back to the midpoint. So we're exhaling out, inhaling round. So with the arm movements, if you have a shoulder that's a bit, doesn't like the full extension, going around in full extension, just make your movements smaller. Don't go so far overhead. Just keep the movements in your vision. Okay, so now we're going to add the leg movement. So hands into the start position. As we bring the hands overhead, I want you to slide your left heel along the mat. So now we've got one leg stretching out, the arms overhead, and then we're going to pull everything back in as you feel your way around the clock face. Switching sides, the right heel now slides away along the mat as we extend the arms, and then we're bringing everything back into that midpoint. Okay, let's transition between the two sides then. Again, we're just focusing on keeping the stability between the transitions, keeping that pelvis lovely and stable so you've got a really strong core here to support you. do one more, evening up the sides. Okay, float the hands down, take a little moment, and now we're going to have a go at the double leg stretch level 2. So, inhale to prepare you. Exhale to float one leg, then the next into tabletop. So you're in a double tabletop. Here's where the fun begins. We're going to float the hands towards the ceiling. Inhale prepares you. We're just doing the arm movements, okay? So arms are going overhead on an exhale, coming back round on an inhale, exhaling out, inhaling back round. So what you're watching out for in this one is that your lower back isn't arching, because we've got a lot going on here that your abs are having to do. If you feel your back is arching out of its position, then come back down into the level 1. Ooh, tricky dicky do this one. Keeping that stability. Okay. Alright, let's float the hands back down, float one leg and then the other, and you can come off your ball. Well done. Okay, we're now taking that ball in between the knees, and we're going to do some abdo prep work. So we're taking our hands behind our heads, forming a little cradle for our neck, allowing our thumbs just to go down our neck, supporting ourselves there. We're just putting a bit of tension on the ball, so bringing the knees together, feeling those inner thighs engage, feeling the pelvic floor engage. We're going to be mindful of the little gap under our lower back. As we pull up on an exhale, we're going to keep the gap under our lower back, and we're only using our abdominal muscles to pull our head up to look over our knees. So we're exhaling to lift from the chest bone, from the sternum, inhaling back down, exhaling up, inhaling back down. We're looking to make sure that the abdominals aren't doming, but they're pulling in towards the spine to create the strength that you need for the movement. And it might help to imagine you've got springs between your hips, tops of your hips and the lower part of your ribs, and you're just making those hips, those springs rather, shorter as you come up. Okay, and coming back down to the mat, just allowing yourself to let go for a moment, take a breather, and then we're going to come into some oblique preps from here. So making sure you can see your shoulder, your elbows rather, in your peripheral vision. That's just to relax your shoulders through this movement a little. We're inhaling to prepare. On an exhale, we're rolling up, and we're trying to take our left shoulder towards, our left elbow rather, towards our right knee. We're rolling back down, and we're exhaling up again, switching sides, trying to take our right elbow to our left knee. Inhaling on the way back down, exhaling up and over, feeling that oblique of the side that you're pulling into, turning on to pull over that little bit more. Exhaling up and across, inhaling back down. We're not pulling with our hands, we're not pulling our head around. We're just supporting it so that we're not overusing those neck flexors. Okay, and allow yourself to come back down. We're going to take a little scoop now from one side to the other. So we're staying up in our abdo prep, and we're going from one side, from one oblique prep side, coming through abdo prep to the other side. So this is our scoop movement. So we're inhaling on the transition, exhale to pull into the side, exhale into the side, Inhale, transition. Exhale to the side. Let's do 4 more of those. Let's do 3 more. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. And then back down to the mat, letting go. Just releasing there for a moment. Well done. Fantastic work. Okay, we're going to come onto our sides now, so you can pop the ball down, and we're going to use our small head cushion or small cushion if you have that one with you today, and we're just going to take some side kicks now. So we're bending at the knees, making sure our feet are in line with our spine, and then from here we're also going to check in with our hips. So we need to make sure that our top hip is directly over the bottom hip, because when we're on our sides we have a bit of a tendency to just slump into the floor and allow the top hip to come towards our face, I guess, towards our head. So we want to make sure that hip is pushed down away from us and we've got that sense of lift coming through the tummy. We're putting our hand on our hip and we're taking our leg long at hip height, pointing that toe. Inhaling to prepare, exhaling to sweep the leg forwards, flexing at the ankle and exhaling, inhaling rather, to bring the leg back. So pointing the toe, exhaling forwards, flexing at the ankle, inhaling to draw it back as far as you can to get into that glute before you then point the toe and come through on your exhale. Again, what we're focusing on here is our stability. So we're keeping our hip absolutely stable, like it's got a stake right the way through it. So it can't roll forwards and it can't roll back. So only keep your range of movement limited to what you can keep your pelvis stable for. Okay, let's do 1 more forward swing. And then stop as we get to our return point. And from here we're going to just pulse up 3, 2, and 1. And then we're folding that leg back in. So when we're doing our pulses and we're going to do our lift and lowers now as well, we're making sure that we're not changing the angle of our hips as we're doing our lift and lowers. So speaking of lift and lowers, let's take both legs long, double check that our hip alignment is not being affected. We're inhaling here, we're exhaling to take the top leg up and down. So we're lifting on an exhale, lowering on an inhale. Nice relaxed shoulders, strong core, but this one really is to get into the glute here at the back. So if you're not feeling that, make sure you're not taking your leg out in front of you. Make sure you're pulling it up directly in front or in line with your other foot on the floor. And also you need to make sure that you're not dropping your hip down like we talked of before in order to get more lift. So make sure you're thinking of that stake through the hip. It's just the muscles of the glute and the thigh that are pulling that leg up. Okay, staying at the top here, pointing the leg, drawing round 3 dinner plates from, and then back round in the other direction, just using your hip flexors and down. That's a bit of a killer. I hope you did feel that one. Okay, so we're going to come over to the other side now and do that for our other glute. Okay, so coming down to lie on the mat then, finding our setup again. So bending at the knee, making sure the feet are in line with the spine. Just thinking about our pelvic setup, have we got one hip stacked over the other? have we got a sense of lift coming from our waist? And then hand on the hip, elbow to the ceiling, taking that top leg long, hip height, pointing the toe, bringing the leg forward on an exhale, flexing at the ankle, inhaling to bring it back, and then back a little bit further into that glute area of engagement if you can manage that while keeping stable. And remembering, I always need to remind myself to turn off my trapezius. My shoulders always want to get engaged when I'm doing something. So nice relaxed shoulders. Just thinking again, have you got a bit of pelvic floor engagement here? Have you got enough core engagement to keep that stability for yourself? Lots of little things to think about. Okay, let's do 2 more of these then. Exhale brings you forwards. Inhale brings you back. Lovely. Okay, now stopping there, pausing there and pulsing up for 3, 2, 1. You should feel that engagement through the back, through the glute. Allowing yourself just to have a moment before we take our legs long. So forming a little kickstand with your foot, flexing at the ankle for support, rechecking that the pelvis is still stacked, you've got your sense of lift through the waist, elbow to the ceiling, inhaling there, exhaling to take the leg towards the ceiling, inhaling back down, exhale up, inhale back down, making sure you've got that stake through the hips, so you cannot move the hips at all. This muscle is pulling you up, the glute, the thigh, that's the one doing the work. So bring the leg back a little if you don't feel that glute engagement yet. Okay, let's do 3 more of those, 2 more of those, and 1 more of those, staying high, pointing the toe. 3 dinner plates. We're moving from the hip. We're not engaging, and back the other way. We're not changing the ankle or the knee to help us with this, and back down. Oh, that's a toughie. Right, now we're going to come on to our front series now. So leaving the head cushion where it is, coming over onto all fours, and just making sure, my ball has rolled over here now, just making sure that you've got your ball available. I'm going to give you an option on how to use the ball for the next exercise, but it can be pretty challenging, so it might not be for you. So we're going to do a swimming level 3. So I'll start by demonstrating the swimming level 3, and then we'll potentially use the ball as well. So we're in our 4-point kneeling position, making sure the hands are a little bit further forward than the shoulders, making sure we're lifting up out of our frame. And for swimming level 3, we're engaging the core, and then we're taking the right arm and the left leg out long, reaching long like someone is pulling them in either direction, and then we're bringing them back down to the mat, switching sides and lifting up with the left arm and the right leg. So we're making sure we're strong in the shoulders, not dropping into the shoulder blade as we transition through between the sides. We're also keeping our stable pelvis. So as we lift our leg, we're not changing our pelvic angle. Again, we're really using muscles to do the pulling and do the movement here. Okay, now if you feel you've got that movement and you'd like a little bit of an extra challenge, we're going to pop the ball under your supporting knee. I'm not sure that I can demonstrate this without falling off, so that's a nice little humble moment. Right, so we're in our setup again. We're only going to move the right, if you
you've got it under your right knee, you're only going to move your right arm and your left leg out. Okay, you can use your toe as well on the supporting leg for a bit of additional support, but you really have to work a lot harder through the core to do the swimming movement if your knee is on a ball. Okay, that's enough on that side. I think I've managed 3 on that side. So we'll bring it to the other knee, and we'll equalise and do 3 on this side. So finding your stability before you lift off on the exhale. Coming back in on the inhale, exhale, lift again, not dropping through that supporting shoulder. One last go. Exhale, lifts us up. Inhale, back down. Ooh, and off the ball. Fabulous, well done. Okay, we're going to have a go now at our leg pulling prone. We're going to start with a level 1. So again, our starting position is much like swimming level 3, but with the toes tucked under here. We're inhaling to prepare. On the exhale, we're just raising our knees off the mat, just enough that we could put a piece of paper underneath them. We're inhaling here, and we're exhaling to come back down to the mat. So even though that's a tiny movement, there's a huge amount of full body engagement to produce that shape. So we're inhaling here, exhaling to hover off the floor, keeping our gaze down in between our hands, just a little bit in front of them, so that our neck is nice and long. And then we're coming back down to the mat. Taking a moment to breathe. One more like that. Lifting on the exhale. Inhaling to hold strong. Exhaling to come back down. Okay, let's take that into a level 2. We'll try that in a level 2. So we're taking our hands quite a bit further forward for our level 2 because we're going to end up in a plank position. What's important in our starting position, even though we're hinging quite a bit forward, is that we keep our hips over our knees. So we're starting like this, inhaling to prepare, exhale to hover the knees, inhale to hold, exhale to launch forward like a rocket into plank, a lovely straight line between the heels and the crown of your head. So you're still looking down to make sure we don't have any additional crick in the neck there. Nice straight line. Inhaling to hold, exhaling to come back to our start position of hover. Inhale to hold there, exhale to return to the mat. That's the hard bit at the end there. Let's try that again. Inhale to prepare us, exhale lifting up onto the knees. Inhale to hold there. Exhale to come forward, shoot forwards into our plank. Inhale holds you in the plank. Exhale back into our hover position. Inhale, hold there. Strong through the core. Exhale, release. Alright, quite enough of that. I think while we're here we might as well just come back into a little shell stretch. Just allow ourselves a bit of a breather there. Keeping the arms active and reaching forwards. Just giving a little pull for the back there. Allowing the heart rate just to come back down a little. And then we're going to come down onto our tummies for our last move of the session. We're going to do a little cobra. So forehead on the mat, thinking about elongating the spine again so that your nose doesn't press into the mat. And then we're taking our arms out in a cactus position, so elbows at shoulder height, hands facing to the floor. From here we're going to engage the core and we're going to engage the glutes a little bit just to tuck the tailbone under, bringing the pubic bone towards the mat. That's just going to help us at the base of our spine so that we don't overextend. We keep that lovely long spine. We're inhaling to prepare here. On an exhale, we're using our back, the strength in our back, to to raise our heads, our chest off the floor. This might be enough for you today, but if you want to keep going, you can use your hands to extend into, so that your hands are helping you to achieve that lovely cobra back bend. We're inhaling here and carefully coming back down to the mat, keeping everything lovely and soft, and then releasing into the floor. Let's take 2 more of those. Inhaling to prepare, engaging the core, just rolling that tailbone under a little bit as we pull up into that cobra, using the hands for a bit of extra stability. Inhaling there, exhale to come down. Just a little note to make sure that when you're in your cobra, you're not pulling your head back. You need to keep that spine nice and long. Inhale prepares us. Exhale to rise up, core engaged, tailbone tucking under. Feeling that back extension, and then coming back down to the mat nice and gently. Fantastic. Okay, from here then, so pushing up, coming back into that little shell stretch. That's so lovely, the shell stretch after you've done some back extension work. Just taking a breather here. And then we're going to use a pigeon just to stretch off the glutes today. So for our pigeon, from 4-point kneeling, the easiest way to get into that is just to bring up the leg, bring the knee up beside you to the side of the mat, and then allow yourself to just shuffle back with the extended leg until you're in a position where you feel you can spend a few seconds. And then we're just going to come down to the mat. You might want to stay on your elbows today, or you might want to come down and place your hands on your forehead on your hands rather. So find a position that works for you. If pigeon is too much for you, there's a lot of stretch there going on in the hips, then you can transition onto your back for a figure 4 stretch, which is effectively the same sort of movement. And just breathing into that stretch then, so inhaling, feeling the lungs expand, exhale, letting the tension go. Okay, and then engaging the core a little as you rise up on your hands, pushing yourself up, tucking under that extended leg to pull yourself up slowly into the down dog. So transitioning out of a pigeon is really important to do nice and slowly. Just pedaling out the dog for a minute, taking the dog for a walk, getting that lovely stretch through the feet, the toes, the calves, through the shoulder area. And then bringing the other leg up onto your mat, knee out to the side, and then just allowing the leg behind you to walk back into position. So find what feels good for you today, and then just take some nice calming breaths there. Okay, just bringing a little bit of core engagement back again then, pressing up out of that, tucking under the toe to lift the hips, back into the down dog, pedaling out the down dog again, and then while we're in down dog, just taking the hips to one side, getting a stretch through that armpit and side waist, and then taking the hips to the other side. I like this tick-tocking movement. It's a nice stretch. Lovely. coming back down onto all fours, and we're going to do a little thread the needle with the ball here. So just placing the ball underneath you in the middle, and then popping your one hand, the wrist, palm facing upwards on the ball, and then we're just going to allow ourselves to roll along the ball and twist into that lovely twist for the spine. Inhale into that, exhale back. Another one like that. Lovely, and then coming back through, switching wrists. Inhaling there, exhale to come through into your spine stretch. Inhale there, exhale to come back. One more like that then. Rolling it back through. And then while we're here, taking a couple of cat-cows, so dropping the tummy for the cow position, looking out, allowing the belly to stretch out there, and then rippling through, tucking the tailbone under, spine to the ceiling for your cat pose. Just coming between the two poses, so inhaling to reach out, exhaling to come back through to cat. Fantastic, and then tucking the toes under, walking back into a little froggy spot, bottom to the ceiling into your forward fold, just enjoying that last hamstring stretch of the class, and then bending at the knee, engaging the core, restacking the spine, allowing the shoulders and the head to relax all the way back up to the top. Rolling the shoulders, taking a breath, and then we're going to take 3 final breaths to close the practice today. Reaching up on the inhale, exhaling down, sweeping the arms behind, inhaling on the reach up, exhaling behind us, inhaling up, and exhaling to let it all go. Well done today. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you again soon.